Success doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being committed. Work hard, stay focused, and let your results speak for themselves. You've probably been working hard, putting in the hours, trying to get noticed, hoping someone will see your effort and appreciate it. But here's the hard truth that might hit you. Nobody cares. It sounds tough, but it's actually freeing. Because once you realize that no one is going to come along and hand you success or reward you for every step you take, you'll start to see that the only person who can truly change your life is you. What if the key to your success isn't waiting for someone to recognize your effort, but finding the strength to keep going even when it feels like nobody's watching? What if your next big step is all about working hard for yourself, building your future on your own terms, and not relying on anyone else's approval? When you understand that nobody cares, you stop waiting for permission, and you start taking full ownership of your journey. The power to change your life is in your hands. And today I want to show you how to get focused, stay driven, and make progress without needing validation from the outside world. It's time to stop looking for someone else to believe in you and start believing in yourself. Number 1, the harsh reality of life. Life has a funny way of knocking us down and making us feel small, doesn't it? Every time we try to make a change or improve ourselves, there's this sense of doubt, like the universe is conspiring against us, trying to remind us that we're not enough. And it's easy to get discouraged, especially when it feels like nobody is paying attention to the effort we're putting in. But here's the thing, nobody cares. And that's the best news you can hear today. You've been led to believe that if you work hard enough, if you make the right moves, someone will come along and reward you, notice your effort, and tell you how great you are. We live in a world that tells us we need validation from others to feel like we matter. Social media reinforces this idea every single day. Look at me, look at my achievements, look at my life. But when you really stop and think about it, the harsh truth is that nobody really cares. And here's the silver lining, that's a huge blessing in disguise. Why? Because when nobody cares, the weight is off your shoulders. You don't need to worry about impressing anyone. You don't need to live up to their expectations or live your life based on their opinions. It's liberating. What matters is that you care. What matters is that you're working hard for yourself, that you're pushing yourself every single day because you believe in your potential and your dreams. When you realize this, it frees you to start taking action without needing validation. You can focus solely on what you need to do to reach your goals. The pressure of pleasing others or waiting for a reward disappears. You can simply get to work. No distractions, no fear of judgment, no hesitation, just you and your ambition. And that's a game changer. Because here's the reality of it. The world doesn't owe you anything. You've heard that before, right? But it's more than just a cliche, it's a fact. Nobody cares about your dreams the way you do. Nobody will wake up and care about your hustle. They might notice your success down the road, but in the meantime, the road is yours to walk alone. And that's okay. In fact, that's how it should be. No one is going to knock on your door and hand you success. Nobody is going to come to your rescue or offer you the perfect opportunity. The people around you are focused on their own lives, their own struggles, and their own dreams. They're not thinking about your next move unless it directly impacts them. And that's not a judgment, it's just life. It's a reminder that you have to take ownership of your future. You have to be the one to push yourself forward. And let's be honest, even if someone does notice the effort you're putting in, how long does that recognition last? A day, a week, a moment. External validation is fleeting. It doesn't last. It doesn't fill you up the way you think it will. But the pride you feel when you accomplish something on your own, when you push yourself past the point of comfort, when you achieve a goal because you decided you would, that satisfaction sticks with you forever. It's something no one can take away from you. That's the power of self-motivation. When you understand that nobody cares, you start to realize that your success or failure doesn't depend on anyone else. It's all on you. You are the one who controls your destiny. You are the one who has the power to change your life. This is what it means to take ownership of your future. It means no excuses, no blaming other people, no waiting for someone to believe in you. It's all on your shoulders. I know it can be difficult to accept this, especially when you're working hard and it feels like no one is paying attention. It's easy to get frustrated, to feel like you're putting in all this effort for nothing. But remember, the journey to success is rarely glamorous. It's not about getting a pat on the back every time you do something good. It's about putting in the work when no one is watching. when no one cares because you believe in what you're building. That belief is what drives you. It's what keeps you moving forward when things get tough. Think about it. The most successful people in the world weren't the ones who waited for a crowd to cheer them on. They didn't wait for someone to hand them an opportunity. They went after it on their own. They worked hard even when it seemed like nobody cared. And that's why they succeeded. Because they knew that the real reward isn't external recognition. It's the feeling of accomplishment. The feeling of knowing that you gave everything you had and built something from the ground up. This doesn't mean that you don't need support. Of course, it's great to have people who encourage you, who cheer you on, who help you along the way. But you have to be prepared to do it on your own, too. You have to be prepared to face the challenges, the setbacks, and the lonely moments when it feels like nobody is watching. Those moments are the ones that shape you. They are the ones that determine whether or not you will succeed. The truth is, the world is full of distractions. People are busy. They have their own goals, their own problems, their own lives to worry about. They may care about you in the sense that they want you to do well, but ultimately your journey is yours. You're the one who has to wake up every day and put in the work. You're the one who has to stay focused on your goals, even when it feels like the world is moving at a different pace. Nobody else is going to make your dreams happen for you. It's up to you to do that. When you embrace the idea that nobody cares, you stop waiting for the world to give you permission to succeed. You stop asking for validation. You stop hoping someone will come along and tell you that you're doing great. You start working for yourself, not for the applause. You start showing up for your own goals, your own ambitions, and your own future. You start realizing that the real power lies in you. It's always been there. You've just been waiting for the right moment to tap into it. Number 2, shift your focus to what you control. You know, one of the most powerful things you can do in life is learn to focus on what you can control. And believe me, this is a game changer. Too many people get caught up in the things that are out of their hands. They spend their energy thinking about things that they can't do anything about. And when that happens, they lose sight of what really matters. They lose sight of the one thing that can truly make a difference, what they do today. There's this tendency we all have to get distracted by the things happening around us, the people who don't believe in us, the setbacks, the mistakes. We let these things define our focus. We think we need to fix everything around us. We think we need to change the way the world works or the way people think. But here's the truth. You can't control the world, and you can't control other people. What you can control, though, is you, your actions, your mindset, your work ethic. That's where you need to put all your attention. That's where the power lies. Let me tell you something important. If you want to see real progress in your life, stop worrying about what's outside of your control. Stop trying to fix things you can't fix. Stop spending energy on things that just drain you without giving anything back. Focus on what's within your reach. Focus on you. Focus on what you can do right now. Focus on how you respond to the challenges in front of you. When you start focusing on yourself in this way, you begin to understand something profound. Your actions have power. Everything that happens to you, all the things you're facing, they are all just part of the journey. But how you respond, that's up to you. No one can take that away. Not your boss, not your friends, not anyone. It's yours to control. And when you start controlling that, when you start really understanding that you have the power to shape your destiny, that's when things begin to change. A lot of times people get stuck in a cycle because they spend too much time blaming the world for their problems. They say things like, if only this would change. If only they'd recognize my efforts. If only I had a different job. If only I had better luck. If only I had the right connections. And do you know what happens? They stay stuck. They stay frustrated because they're focused on things they can't change. They're focused on things they have no control over. The only way to break that cycle is to turn the focus inward. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you can do today. What can you do right now with what you have? What action can you take to move you closer to the person you want to be? What choices can you make that will get you closer to your goals? The answers to these questions are within your control, and that's where you should direct all of your energy. Here's the thing. When you start focusing on what you can control, you stop feeling like a victim. You stop blaming other people for where you are. You stop waiting for things outside of you to change before you take action. You stop waiting for someone else to make things better. Instead, you realize that you are the solution. You realize that everything you need to move forward is within you. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to look at what other people are doing, or look at what's happening around you and feel like it's all out of your hands. But I want you to remember this. You have everything you need to succeed right in front of you. Your ability to think, to act, to learn, to grow. That's the only thing you need. Focus on that. Don't get distracted by things you can't change. Don't waste your energy on things that are outside of your control. Put all of your energy into what you can change yourself. When you focus on the things that are within your control, something amazing happens. You start to see progress. Little by little, you start moving forward. You start getting results, and those results start to build on each other. But here's the key. You can't get there if you're always looking outside of yourself for the answer. The answer is within you. The solution is in your ability to take consistent action every single day. So let me ask you this. What's within your control right now? What can you do today to make progress? Maybe it's something small like getting up an hour earlier to work on your goals. Maybe it's a decision to stop procrastinating and take that first step towards something you've been putting off. Maybe it's deciding to cut out the distractions in your life that are holding you back. Whether that's negative people, bad habits, or self-doubt. The key is this: don't let anything outside of you stop you from doing the work that's in front of you. There will always be obstacles. There will always be setbacks. There will always be things that try to pull you off course. But those things don't define you. Your response to them does. When you focus on what you can control, you stop feeling helpless. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. Instead, you start to feel like you're in control of your own destiny. And that, my friend, is where real power comes from. It doesn't matter if others are moving faster than you. It doesn't matter if your path looks different from someone else's. It doesn't matter if you're starting from scratch or if you've been at it for a while. What matters is that you're focused on what you can do. What matters is that you're committed to taking the right steps, no matter how small they seem. Every step you take in the right direction, every choice you make to move forward, that's progress. And progress, no matter how slow, always leads to success. But you won't make any progress if you're too busy worrying about things you can't control. The only thing that matters is what you do next. Number 3, create your own opportunities. You are the one who must create your own opportunities. This is something that doesn't get said enough in today's world. Too many people sit around waiting for an opportunity to fall into their lap, and when it doesn't, they feel disappointed or even hopeless. They wonder, why isn't anyone giving me a chance? But here's the reality. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to give you what you want. You have to go out and make it happen. It's easy to think that success is something that just happens to some people. We look at others and think they were in the right place at the right time, or they must have gotten lucky. But let me tell you, luck has very little to do with it. Opportunity is everywhere, but it doesn't always show up in the way we expect. If you're waiting for someone to come to you with a big offer, you're going to be waiting a long time. But if you take control and start looking for opportunities, if you take bold steps to create your own path, you'll begin to see doors open that you never even knew existed. Creating your own opportunities means putting yourself out there, even when you feel unsure. It means trying things, even when they're hard. It means stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking risks, knowing that it's in those moments of discomfort that the greatest growth happens. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. No one owes you a break. No one owes you a chance. You have to create your own break. And the way you do that is by being willing to put in the work, by staying persistent, and by showing up when no one else will. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have created success in their lives. Do you think they just sat around and waited for things to happen to them? Do you think they just hoped for the best and crossed their fingers that someone would give them what they needed? No, they made things happen. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They got to work. They kept moving forward, and they created the circumstances they needed to succeed. This is something that's so important to understand. Success isn't about waiting for a moment of opportunity to come knocking. Success is about recognizing the opportunity you already have and taking action on it. It's about seeing the things in your life that need to change and deciding that you're the one who's going to make those changes happen. It's about seeing what's possible in your life and deciding that you're going to build it brick by brick. It's about creating your own chances rather than waiting for someone to give you a break. And here's something else that's vital to understand. You don't need anyone's permission to create your own opportunities. You don't need to wait for the perfect person to notice you. You don't need the right circumstances. You don't need the perfect plan. All you need is a willingness to act. You need to be willing to get your hands dirty, to make mistakes, to learn, to grow. That's how opportunities are made. You create them by doing the work, by trying new things, by learning new skills, by putting yourself out there, and by refusing to quit. A lot of people get caught up in the idea of needing someone else's approval. They think they need someone to give them a chance, to see their potential, to notice their efforts. And while it's nice to have people who believe in you, you can't rely on others to give you permission to succeed. You have to believe in yourself first. You have to take action based on your own belief in your abilities and your own vision for your life. You have to create the opportunities that matter to you. When you do that, you'll find that the world starts to open up for you in ways you never expected. Don't get me wrong. It's not always easy. Creating your own opportunities takes hard work, persistence, and a willingness to fail. But if you're serious about making your life something extraordinary, this is what you must do. You have to push past the fear of failure. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to start from scratch, even if it means making mistakes along the way. But guess what? Those mistakes don't define you. They're part of the process. They're part of creating something bigger than yourself. It's also important to remember that not every opportunity will come in the form you expect. Maybe you think that your big break is going to come from a specific job or from a particular connection, or from someone noticing you. But the truth is, opportunities show up in different ways. Sometimes the opportunity you need is just around the corner, and you don't even know it yet. Maybe it's a new skill you decide to learn. Maybe it's a new person you meet, or a new project you decide to take on. Opportunities can come from the most unexpected places, but they will always come if you're looking for them and willing to act when they do. And here's something else to remember. When you create your own opportunities, you start to develop a sense of self-reliance. You stop waiting for things to happen for you, and you start making things happen for yourself. And that's incredibly empowering. It gives you confidence. It gives you a sense of control over your own life. And it makes you realize that you don't have to rely on others to create the future you want. You have the power to do it yourself. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you should shut everyone else out or ignore the advice and guidance of people who have been where you want to go. What I am saying is that you shouldn't wait for others to give you permission to succeed. You shouldn't rely on external factors to decide when it's your time. You have to take responsibility for your own journey. You have to make the opportunities even when no one else is giving them to you. Number 4, own your time and priorities. You ever stop and think about how much control you have over your own time? It's easy to forget, right? Life gets busy, things get chaotic, and before you know it, the hours just slip away. But here's the thing. You have more control over your time than you realize. You have the power to decide what you do with every single moment. And the way you use your time is the biggest factor in how successful you'll be in the future. Let me tell you something. Time is your most valuable asset. You can't buy more of it. You can't borrow it. You can't even get it back once it's gone. And yet we treat it like it's unlimited. We procrastinate. We waste it. We let it slip through our fingers without even thinking about it. But what if you realize just how much time you actually have and how much you're throwing away every day? What if you got intentional about how you use it? The truth is, if you want to be successful, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to own your time. Owning your time isn't just about planning your day or managing your schedule. It's about making your time a priority. It's about choosing what's important and sticking to it. We live in a world full of distractions, phones buzzing, social media notifications, emails, people pulling at your attention. But every time you let yourself get distracted, you're choosing to give your time away. You're allowing other people and other things to dictate how you spend your day. And that's a dangerous game to play. When you start really owning your time, you start asking yourself, what's important right now? What's going to move me closer to my goals? What's worth my time? And here's the key. You don't have to be perfect about it. You don't have to get it right every single day, but you have to be intentional. You have to make the choice to prioritize your goals and your future. The world will give you a million things to do, and many of them won't move you forward. If you let them, they'll take up your time, your energy, and your focus, leaving you with nothing left for what really matters. And that's why you have to take control. You have to own your time and own your priorities. Let's talk about priorities for a second. Everyone says they want to be successful, but what are you actually doing to make that happen? What do your actions say about what you value? Because your time reflects your priorities. When you look at your day, when you look at how you spend your hours, your minutes, what does that tell you about what's important to you? If you're spending hours on things that don't help you grow, things that don't move you closer to where you want to be, then it's time for a shift. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of consistent action And consistent action comes from being deliberate with your time. Every single day you have the opportunity to move closer to your goals, to move closer to becoming the person you want to be. But that doesn't happen if you're wasting your time. That doesn't happen if you're letting other people's demands or distractions take the lead. You have to decide what your priorities are, and then protect them with everything you've got. You have to be willing to say no to things that don't matter. You have to be willing to step away from distractions and focus on what's going to move the needle. Now, this doesn't mean you can never relax or enjoy life. Of course you need rest. Of course you need time for yourself, for your family, for fun. But when it comes down to it, the way you spend the majority of your time is what determines your future. If you're serious about reaching your goals, if you're serious about building something great, then your time needs to reflect that. It's not about working 24/7s. It's about being intentional with the hours you have, focusing on what matters most and cutting out what doesn't. One of the biggest things that holds people back is the fear of missing out, FOMO. You get caught up in thinking that if you say no to certain things, you'll miss out on opportunities, or you'll miss out on fun. But here's the truth. Saying yes to everything means you're saying no to the things that matter. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to do everything. You just need to focus on the things that bring you closer to your goals. And that takes discipline. It takes saying no when you want to say yes. And it takes saying yes to the hard work, even when it's uncomfortable. You also have to understand that owning your time means owning your decisions. Every decision you make, what you do today, what you do tomorrow, affects your future. So the question is, what kind of future do you want? What do you want to look back on and say, I did that, I built that, I made that happen? Because you're the only one who can make it happen. No one else is going to do the work for you. You're the one who has to take control, who has to be intentional about how you spend your days. And I want to remind you, it's never too late to start. Maybe you've wasted time in the past. Maybe you've let days slip by without doing anything meaningful. Maybe you've spent too much time on things that don't matter. That's okay. What matters now is what you do next. What matters is the choice you make today. You can take control of your time right now. You can decide right now to make today count. You can decide to start living with intention and purpose, and it will change everything. Think about the impact that owning your time can have on your life. Imagine if you spent every single day doing things that bring you closer to your goals. Imagine how much progress you could make if you didn't waste time on things that don't matter. Imagine where you'd be a year from now if you started making your time count. The possibilities are endless, but you have to make the decision. You have to choose to take ownership of your time, to prioritize the things that are important to you, and to take action on those priorities every single day. When you do that, your life will change. You'll start to see the results of your work. You'll feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of progress, and you'll realize that your time is the most powerful tool you have. It's up to you to use it wisely, to invest it in things that matter, and to make your life something you can be proud of. Number 5, stop seeking approval from others. You know, there's a tendency that I see a lot of people fall into, and it's this idea that they need someone else's approval to move forward in life. They believe that for something to be worthwhile, someone else has to recognize it first. The truth is, that mindset is a trap, and it's one that can hold you back for far too long if you let it. It's so easy to get caught up in looking for external validation. You post something online, and you're waiting for the likes, the comments, the shares, and you feel good for a moment when you get them. But what happens when you don't get that? What happens when no one seems to notice or acknowledge your effort? I'll tell you what happens. You're left with a sense of doubt, of questioning whether what you're doing even matters. And that doubt is dangerous because it can stop you from pushing forward. But here's the thing. The only approval you need is your own. That's right. You have to learn to give yourself permission to move forward, to try, to fail, to succeed, and to grow, regardless of what others think or say. Stop waiting for permission to live your life the way you want. No one else is in charge of your success or your journey except you. Think about it for a second. How many times have you stopped yourself from taking action because you were worried about what someone else might think? How many times have you held back thinking, I'm not good enough, or this isn't going to work, or what if they don't approve? That fear of judgment, that desire to be accepted by others, is what stops so many people from doing what they're truly capable of. They hold back from pursuing their goals, from trying new things, from stepping into their true potential, because they're constantly worried about what others will think. I'm here to tell you today, you don't need their approval. You don't need anyone else's validation to go after what you want. The only validation you need is the belief you have in yourself. When you stop looking for approval from others and start looking to yourself for the confidence to move forward, something incredible happens. You realize that you've been holding the power all along. You are the one who gets to decide whether you succeed or fail. You are the one who gets to decide whether your dreams are worth chasing. And if you want to do something in life, if you have a vision, then you have to make the decision to go after it, with or without anyone else's approval. I know it's easier said than done. We've all had moments when we've looked around and thought, I need people to believe in me first. But the truth is, that's just a story you've been telling yourself. Belief in yourself has to come first. You have to be the one who believes you're capable, that you're worthy of success, and that you have what it takes to make it happen. The rest will follow. Sure, people will notice eventually, but it starts with you. It starts with your own confidence, your own commitment to your goals, and your own willingness to keep moving forward, no matter what anyone else says or thinks. Think about all the people who've made a real impact in the world. Think about the people who've created something remarkable, who've built successful businesses, or who've done something that's truly changed lives. They didn't wait for someone else to give them the green light. They didn't wait for someone to tell them it was okay to chase their dreams. They took action. They trusted their vision and believed in their ability to make it a reality. They stopped worrying about what others thought of them and started focusing on what they thought of themselves. The world isn't going to hand you a certificate of approval. No one's going to come knocking on your door with a big congratulations, just because you're working hard and trying to make something of yourself. But you know what? That's okay. You don't need that. What you need is to believe in your own worth, to give yourself the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, to fail, and to keep moving forward. When you stop looking for approval from others, you open yourself up to a whole new world of possibilities. Here's a powerful truth to embrace. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't even need to have a perfect plan. You just need to get started. You need to take action, even when you don't have all the answers. And even when you're not sure where it will lead, it's in the doing that you'll find your way. So let me ask you, how many times have you let someone else's opinion stop you from going after what you truly want? How many times have you held back from speaking up, from putting yourself out there, or from chasing your dreams because you were worried about what people would think? How many opportunities have you missed simply because you were waiting for someone to tell you it was okay? I get it. It's hard to break free from the need for approval. It's hard to step out into the world without that reassurance from others. But if you want to live a life of purpose, if you want to create something meaningful, if you want to achieve greatness, then you have to stop seeking approval from others. You have to trust in yourself, in your abilities, and in your vision. When you do that, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your belief in yourself grows, and you become unstoppable. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore the people around you completely. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to advice or learn from others. What I am saying is that you should never let someone else's opinion dictate your actions or your worth. You have to decide for yourself what's important, what you want to accomplish, and how you're going to get there. You are the one in charge of your life. And when you give yourself permission to go after what you want, you will start to see just how powerful you really are. You don't need their approval. What you need is the courage to believe in yourself, the willingness to take action, and the determination to keep going, even when it's tough. When you stop looking outside for validation and start looking within, you will unlock your true potential. And trust me, once you do that, you won't just change your life, you'll change the world around you. Number 6, your hard work will speak for it, self-hard work. And here's the thing, this isn't about working for the sake of it, or grinding just to say you're busy. No, we're talking about work that matters, work that makes a difference, work that will, over time, speak louder than anything else in your life. The reason I say that is because, at the end of the day, what you put into your work will be reflected in what you get out of it. Your results will show. Your effort will show. Your commitment will show. There's this idea that somehow the world owes us something. People think that if they work a little bit here and there, or put in just enough to get by, they'll be recognized, they'll be rewarded, and things will fall into place. But let's face it, that's just not how it works. If you want to succeed, if you want to build something that lasts, you have to put in the work. And not just any work, but the kind of work that pushes you to grow, to become better every day, and to never settle for mediocrity. The hard work, the one that you're not doing just to check boxes or fill time, but the one that builds you. I can promise you this, nobody's going to give you the success you want on a silver platter. It doesn't matter how many people are rooting for you or how much talent you have. Talent alone won't get you where you want to go. Hard work will. And I want to be clear too, this isn't about working yourself to the point of burnout. This is about consistent, focused effort over time. The kind of work where you show up every day, do what needs to be done, and do it with intention. Every task, no matter how small, matters. Every step you take gets you closer to your goal. Think about it like this. The work you put in today will be your foundation for tomorrow. You can't just wish for success and expect it to fall into your lap. You have to build it. You have to show up every day and do what others are not willing to do. You have to keep going when it gets tough. When you feel like giving up, when you want to take the easy way out, that's when the real growth happens. The hard work is what builds your reputation. It's what shows people that you're serious, that you're committed, and that you're not just here for a quick win. Hard work builds trust. It builds respect. When people see that you're willing to do whatever it takes to stay consistent and never give up, that's when they start to believe in you. But here's the secret. It's not just about impressing other people. It's about impressing yourself. It's about showing yourself that you can do the hard things, that you can push through when it feels impossible, and that you can create results that you're proud of. Now, I know there are days when it feels like you're working and working and working, and nothing is happening. You're putting in the time, but it seems like you're not getting any closer to your goals. And that can be discouraging. I know. But let me tell you something. The work you're putting in today is never wasted. Every effort, every late night, every early morning, every challenge you overcome, it all counts. You may not see the results immediately, but they're coming. That's the beauty of hard work. It compounds. It doesn't show up right away, but over time it builds up until you look back and realize just how far you've come. The seeds you're planting today will one day become the trees that bear fruit tomorrow. But let's not kid ourselves. This journey isn't easy. It's hard. It's exhausting. At times. It will challenge you. It will push you to your limits. But that's how you know you're on the right path. The struggle is part of the process. The hard moments are the ones that shape you. They're the moments that define your character. And those moments are the ones that prepare you for the success that's waiting for you. If you're not willing to push through the tough times, if you're not willing to show up and do the work even when it feels impossible, then you'll never know what you're truly capable of. But when you commit to doing the hard work, when you make the decision to keep going no matter what, you unlock your potential. You discover just how strong you really are. You realize that you can do things you never thought possible. And when you look back on the journey, you'll see that the hard work you put in was worth every single minute. Because it's not about what you get at the end. It's about who you become along the way. And I'll tell you something else. Your hard work will speak for itself. You don't need to shout about it. You don't need to brag. You don't need to get recognition every step of the way. People will see your results. They'll see the effort you've put in and they'll respect you for it. Your work will become your reputation. And that's the most powerful thing you can build. People want to see results. They want to see that you've put in the time, that you've fought through the challenges, that you've stayed committed. When you're consistently putting in the work, your success won't be a surprise to anyone. It will be a direct result of the effort you've invested. Your hard work becomes your story. Here's the thing. Nobody is going to hand you success. Nobody is going to give you a free pass. You have to earn it. You have to work for it. And you have to do it every single day, without exception. But the beautiful part is, when you put in the work, when you keep pushing even when it's tough, when you show up day after day, that's when things start to shift. That's when you start to see the progress. That's when you start to see the results that you've been working for all along. And let me be clear, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying you won't face challenges. I'm not saying you won't have moments of doubt, moments when you feel like giving up. But I'm telling you this, the hard work is worth it. The hard work is what will get you where you want to go. It will build the life you want to live. It will shape you into the person you need to be to reach your highest potential. Number 7. Embrace discomfort and challenges. Life is not always comfortable. I know that sounds obvious, but it's something we need to understand and accept if we're going to do anything meaningful with our lives. We live in a world that often tells us we should be comfortable, that we should always strive for ease and convenience. But the truth is, the most rewarding things in life don't come from staying in our comfort zones. They come from the times when we push ourselves, when we challenge ourselves, when we step into situations that are difficult and uncomfortable. You can't grow in comfort. You can't reach your potential if you're always looking for the easy way out. There's a reason why the most successful people, the ones who make the biggest impact, are the ones who have gone through the most challenges. It's because they didn't shy away from discomfort. They embraced it. They knew that in order to grow, in order to achieve great things, they had to put themselves in situations that were tough, that stretched them, that pushed them beyond their limits. Think about it for a second. When you look back on your life, what are the moments that stand out to you the most? Are they the easy moments, the ones where everything went smoothly and perfectly? Or are they the moments when things were hard, when you struggled, when you had to dig deep to get through it? I can almost guarantee that the moments that stand out, the ones that truly shaped you, are the ones where you were uncomfortable, where you were forced to grow, where you had to rise above the challenge. Embrace discomfort. When you feel that discomfort, when you feel the resistance, that's when you know you're on the right track. That's when you know you're doing something that matters. That's when you know you're moving toward growth. Don't avoid it. Don't run from it. When you start to feel that discomfort, lean into it, because it's not going to last forever. What feels difficult today will become a part of your story tomorrow. And what you'll find is that each time you face discomfort, each time you push through it, you get a little stronger, you get a little better, and eventually, that discomfort won't feel like discomfort anymore. It will feel like progress. The world is full of distractions, full of things that tell us to take the easy road, to avoid struggle, to find shortcuts. And for a while it can seem like that's the way to go. But the reality is that shortcuts don't lead to lasting success. Shortcuts don't teach you the lessons you need to learn. They don't build the resilience that you need to face the challenges that life will throw at you. The truth is, there are no shortcuts to greatness. There's no easy way to get to the top. But the good news is, you don't need shortcuts. You need persistence. You need grit. You need the willingness to face discomfort and keep moving forward anyway. That's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. I think one of the biggest reasons people avoid discomfort is because they don't like to fail. Nobody likes failure. I get it. Nobody wakes up excited to fail. But here's the thing. Failure is not the end. Failure is part of the process. It's a stepping stone to success. Every time you fail, you're learning. Every time you fall short, you're getting better. The most successful people are the ones who have failed the most, because they understand that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. If you never fail, it means you're never pushing yourself far enough. If you never fail, it means you're never stepping outside of your comfort zone. It means you're not trying hard enough. Failure is not your enemy. It's a teacher. It's a guide. It's what helps you improve, what helps you grow, and what helps you reach the next level. The key is to not let failure stop you. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. You have to keep trying, keep learning, keep pushing through those tough moments, because every time you do, you become stronger. Look, life is full of obstacles. It's full of moments where you feel like giving up, where you feel like you're not making progress, where you feel like the road is too tough. But what if I told you that those moments are the moments that will define you? It's not the easy times that will shape who you are. It's the tough times, the moments of discomfort, the times when you had every reason to quit but you didn't. That's when you discover what you're made of. That's when you realize just how strong you truly are. Here's the truth. The greatest rewards come from the greatest struggles. The bigger the challenge, the greater the growth, the more discomfort you push through, the greater the sense of accomplishment. You've got to be willing to take the hard road, to face the tough times, and to keep moving forward even when it's not easy, because that's how you become the person you're meant to be. It's easy to want to take the easy road, to avoid the tough situations, but if you do that, you're selling yourself short. You're not giving yourself the chance to grow, to push past your limits, to become the best version of yourself. You have to get comfortable with discomfort. You have to get comfortable with the idea that growth isn't always going to feel good. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like a struggle at times, but it's worth it. Every single bit of it is worth it, because on the other side of that discomfort is a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more capable than you could ever imagine. And let me tell you this too, the rewards that come from stepping outside your comfort zone are unlike anything else. The confidence that you'll gain, the sense of accomplishment that comes with pushing through the hard times, and the strength you'll build, those things will stick with you for the rest of your life. When you get used to discomfort, when you learn to embrace the struggle, you'll start to see that nothing can hold you back. Nothing will be too difficult for you to handle. You'll develop a resilience that will carry you through the toughest times. And that's a power you can't get any other way. Number 8, the power of self-discipline. It's one of the most important traits you can develop, yet it's something many people overlook or underestimate. But let me tell you, if you want to achieve anything significant in life, if you want to build the kind of life that's fulfilling, impactful, and lasting, then you must understand the importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about doing what you know needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's about showing up for yourself, even when there's no one else around to hold you accountable. It's about making the hard choices when it's easier to choose the path of least resistance. You see, most people think motivation is the key to success, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes, and it's not something you can rely on consistently. Some days you wake up feeling on fire, ready to take on the world. Other days you wake up feeling tired, unmotivated, and just not in the mood to do anything. And guess what? That's normal. But that's where self-discipline comes in. Self-discipline is what keeps you going on those days when motivation isn't there. It's the ability to push through those moments when you feel like quitting. It's the strength to keep moving forward, even when the excitement has faded, and all that's left is the work that needs to be done. That's where the magic happens. The thing is, no one is born with an infinite supply of self-discipline. It's something you develop over time, with small actions and choices, day in and day out. And every time you make the disciplined choice, it gets easier. You strengthen that muscle, and eventually it becomes second nature. But the key is to start showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Self-discipline is the thing that separates those who are successful from those who aren't. It's not talent, it's not luck, and it's not timing. It's the ability to stay focused, to stay consistent, and to put in the work when no one else is watching. Think about it. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between the person who achieves their goals and the person who doesn't is the way they use that time. The successful person isn't spending all their time on distractions, on things that don't matter, or on things that feel good in the moment but don't contribute to their long-term success. The successful person uses their time wisely, with self-discipline, to focus on what matters, to work on what needs to be done, and to keep moving forward, no matter what. The best way to start building self-discipline is to get clear on what you want. If you don't have a clear vision of where you're headed, then it's easy to get sidetracked, to give in to temptation, and to waste time. But when you know exactly what you're working towards, when you have a goal in mind that means something to you, it becomes easier to stay disciplined. You start making decisions based on your goals, not on how you feel in the moment. Another key part of self-discipline is managing your environment. You can't expect to have self-discipline if you're constantly surrounded by distractions. If your phone is always within arm's reach, if you're constantly checking social media, or if you're surrounded by people who aren't supporting your goals, then you're making it that much harder on yourself. Take a look at your environment and make sure it's aligned with the person you're trying to become. Create an environment that supports your goals, that encourages focus, and that helps you stay on track. But here's the thing. Self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every day and doing your best, even if your best isn't always. There will be days when you fall short. There will be times when you make mistakes, when you get off track, when you don't do what you said you would do, and that's okay. What matters is that you get back up. What matters is that you don't quit. Self-discipline is about getting back on track, not beating yourself up for falling off course. When you have self-discipline, you're not relying on external motivation or circumstances to push you forward. You're relying on yourself. You're taking responsibility for your actions, and you're making choices that are in line with your goals, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. That's the power of self-discipline. It puts you in control of your own success. But let's be clear, self-discipline isn't easy. It's not meant to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and everyone would be achieving their dreams. The reason most people don't succeed is because they're not willing to put in the effort. They're not willing to do the work when it's hard. They're not willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to build the life they want. But that's where the difference lies. The people who succeed are the ones who are willing to do what others won't. They're the ones who are willing to say no to distractions, to stay focused, to put in the hard work, and to keep going no matter what. And when you start building that discipline, when you start showing up for yourself, even when it's tough, you'll begin to see the results. You'll begin to see your goals becoming a reality. You'll start to feel the momentum building. And the more you keep going, the easier it gets. Because success is not an event, it's a process. It's the small actions, repeated consistently over time, that lead to big results. And as you continue to develop your self-discipline, you'll notice something incredible. Your confidence will grow. You'll start to trust yourself more. You'll start to believe that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Because the more you stick to your commitments, the more you prove to yourself that you can follow through, even when it's hard. And that's one of the most powerful feelings in the world, when you know without a doubt that you can rely on yourself. Number 9, learn to be your own biggest supporter. You know, there are moments in life when you have to step up for yourself, when you have to be your biggest cheerleader, your own source of encouragement. We spend so much time looking outside of ourselves for validation, approval, and support from others. But the truth is, there are going to be times when no one else is around to give you that push, when no one is there to applaud your efforts or remind you to keep going. And in those moments, the only person who can truly pick you up is you. We all have dreams, goals, and ambitions, but achieving them requires more than just talent or luck. It requires a deep belief in yourself, a belief that no matter what, you can make it happen. And that belief has to come from within. No one can do it for you. It's up to you to be your own biggest supporter, your own biggest fan, and your own biggest motivator. Now, I know this can be tough. There are going to be days when things don't go your way, when nothing seems to be working, and when it feels like the whole world is against you. In those moments, it's easy to get discouraged, to doubt yourself, and to wonder if all the effort is worth it. But here's the thing. You are capable of more than you realize. The strength you need to keep going is already inside you. But you have to believe that. You have to trust yourself enough to keep pushing, even when the path gets tough. It's easy to look at other people and think they have it all together, that they've got it easier than you, or that they've somehow figured out something you haven't. But here's the truth. Everyone has their own struggles, their own obstacles, and their own doubts. No one is immune to setbacks or challenges. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the ability to believe in themselves when it feels like no one else does. It's about having the faith to keep going, even when the going gets tough. When you learn to be your own biggest supporter, you start to realize that you don't need permission to succeed. You don't need someone else to tell you that you're worthy, that you're capable, or that you're good enough. You get to decide that for yourself. You get to choose whether or not you're going to keep going, whether or not you're going to believe in your dreams, whether or not you're going to keep pushing toward what you want. But being your own biggest supporter doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you won't have doubts or fears. It doesn't mean you won't face moments of uncertainty. What it means is that no matter what, you believe in yourself enough to keep trying. You're willing to show up for yourself every day, even when things are hard. You're willing to take responsibility for your own success and not wait for someone else to make it happen for you. A big part of this is learning how to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement. So often, we are our own harshest critics. We point out our flaws, our mistakes, and our shortcomings. We tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that we can't do it, or that we don't deserve success. But that kind of self-talk only holds us back. It only makes things harder. When you start speaking to yourself with compassion, when you start encouraging yourself as you would a close friend, you'll be amazed at how much easier it is to keep going. Think about the people who truly support you in your life. The ones who cheer you on, who believe in you, and who encourage you when you're feeling down. Imagine what it would feel like if you were that person for yourself. If you could look in the mirror and tell yourself, "You've got this, you can do this, or I believe in you." Imagine how much more confident you'd feel, how much more motivated you'd be, and how much stronger you'd become in the face of challenges. It's not about ignoring the difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It's about accepting that life is messy, that there will be setbacks, and that success doesn't come overnight. It's about choosing to believe in yourself, despite the challenges, despite the mistakes, and despite the setbacks. When you do that, you start to create a sense of inner strength that no one can take away from you. You also start to develop a sense of resilience, Life will knock you down. It will throw curveballs your way, and it will test your resolve. But when you've learned how to be your own biggest supporter, you don't stay down for long. You get up. You dust yourself off. You learn from your mistakes, and you keep going. Because you know deep down that you are capable of overcoming whatever comes your way. And here's the thing. The more you support yourself, the more you trust yourself, the more you'll start to see your potential. You'll start to notice that you're capable of more than you thought. You'll start to achieve things that once seemed impossible. And all of that happens because you believed in yourself enough to take the first step. Being your own biggest supporter also means setting boundaries and protecting your time, energy, and focus. There will be people who don't believe in your dreams, who try to discourage you, or who try to pull you down. And that's okay. You don't need everyone's approval to succeed. What you need is to protect your belief in yourself, to protect your vision, and to stay focused on what matters. The people who truly support you will respect your journey. They'll understand that sometimes you need to prioritize your dreams over everything else. And that's not selfish. That's self-respect. Number 10, focus on progress, not perfection. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that everything needs to be perfect before you can move forward, that you have to have every little detail figured out before you even take that first step. But the reality is that perfection is an illusion. It's something we chase because we think it will bring us success, happiness, and fulfillment. But here's the hard truth. Perfection will never be the answer. Progress is. I want you to stop focusing on being perfect and start focusing on progress. Progress is real. It's tangible. It's something you can feel and see every single day. When you focus on making progress, you're taking steps forward, no matter how small, toward the person you want to become and the life you want to live. Perfection, on the other hand, keeps you stuck. It keeps you paralyzed in place because it's unattainable. And as long as you're trying to reach it, you'll never get anywhere. Think about it. Every single person you admire, every person who has achieved something great in their life, didn't get there by being perfect. They got there by showing up, by doing the work, by taking action, and by improving every day. They didn't wait until everything was perfect. They didn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. They just got started, and they focused on making progress. Step by step, they moved forward. And here's the thing. When you focus on progress, you allow yourself to grow. You give yourself permission to make mistakes, to fail, to learn, and to try again. You understand that failure isn't the end of the road. It's just a part of the journey. Each time you fail, you're learning something valuable. You're gaining experience that will make you stronger and more resilient. You're moving closer to your goals, even if you don't see it at the moment. But when you focus on perfection, you're always afraid of making mistakes. You're afraid to try because you don't want to fail. And that fear keeps you stuck. It holds you back from reaching your potential. It keeps you from experiencing the growth that happens when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Perfection demands that you get everything right the first time. Progress, on the other hand, allows you to make mistakes and learn from them. This doesn't mean that you should stop trying to do your best. It doesn't mean you shouldn't aim high or work hard. What it means is that you need to shift your mindset. Instead of beating yourself up over every mistake, instead of feeling defeated when things don't go perfectly, start focusing on the fact that you're learning, that you're growing, and that you're making progress. Celebrate the small wins. Acknowledge the steps forward, no matter how small they might seem, because those small steps add up. Over time, they will lead you to the big wins. I know it's easy to compare yourself to others and think that they have it all figured out. You might look at someone who's been doing something for years and think, why am I not as good as them? Why am I not as successful? But here's the secret. They didn't get where they are overnight. They didn't reach perfection. They reached progress. They kept moving forward, even when they didn't have all the answers. And they kept going, even when things didn't look perfect. So instead of comparing yourself to them, focus on your own progress. Focus on how far you've come, not how far you have to go. Every step you take is a victory, and every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. When you focus on progress, you stop worrying about what other people think. You stop measuring your success based on their standards. You start measuring your success based on your own growth, your own journey, and your own progress. And that's what will bring you true fulfillment. The satisfaction of knowing that you are moving forward, that you are becoming the person you were meant to be, that you are building the life you've always dreamed of. Perfection also keeps you in the past. It makes you dwell on everything that went wrong, every mistake you made, every opportunity you missed. But progress is about the present moment. It's about what you're doing right now, today, to move toward your goals. It's about what you can do in this moment to make a difference in your life. When you focus on progress, you stop living in the past. You stop being held back by your mistakes or the things you didn't get right. You take responsibility for where you are, and you move forward no matter what. If you're waiting for the perfect time to start, I'm here to tell you, it's never going to come. There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a moment where everything is aligned and you have all the answers. The perfect time is right now, this moment. If you want to make progress, if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to change your life, then you have to start now. Don't wait. Don't let perfection hold you back. And listen, I get it. I know how easy it is to get caught up in the idea of doing things perfectly. I know how easy it is to think that you have to have everything figured out before you take action. But if I had waited for everything to be perfect before I started, I would still be waiting. The people who are successful, the ones who have achieved great things, they didn't wait for perfection. They took action. They moved forward. They learned as they went, and they made progress every single day. Perfection doesn't lead to success. Progress does. So stop worrying about being perfect. Start focusing on progress. Start celebrating every step you take forward, no matter how small it may seem. Embrace the journey with all its ups and downs. Because when you focus on progress, you're building something real. You're building a life, a career, a future that is yours. And that's the only thing that matters. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. Keep making progress. And when you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. You'll be amazed at what you've accomplished. But it all starts with you making the decision to stop chasing perfection and start focusing on progress. That's how you create the life you want.